Here's your headline. LAFC, historic. LAFC, Carlos Vela, best ever MLS regular season, best ever single season goal scoring record. And he broke it by 3 goals. Last year, 31 seemed just crazy from Josef Martinez. This year, it's 34. I want the goal scorer to give me some perspective. 34 goals in a single season, 72 points. What?
It's the consistency, being able to stay healthy for a full season. We saw him go down with a hamstring strain. He pops back up and keeps banging goals. It's remarkable, and it's because he can just hurt you in a different number of ways. Whether it's on the dribble, whether it's on the wing, and he's unselfish. That's the best part about him is, yeah, you can close him down, you surround him with 3 or 4 players, but then he'll pass it to the next guy. And you have Rossi, you have Marc-Anthony Kaye, you have Atuesta, you have so many weapons on this team. That's what makes them so dynamic.
I think what's most impressive about Vela and even Josef Martinez is that they're the guys that the other teams are trying to stop. They're like purposely building their defenses around stopping these guys, and yet they still score, and yet they still set records. And I mean, he has 34 goals and 15 assists in 31 games. Oh man, Charlie was getting excited because he couldn't do that ever, right, Charlie? I mean, I was like, wow, I've never seen you so excited about scissors kick. But
yeah,
you're pretty excited.
I was known for those. But as far as just being just such a threat, and it's game after game, the consistency, it's the level of consistency, because we've seen guys, they play really well, then they have the dip. No matter if you're Rooney, no matter if you're David Villa, never matter if you're Thierry Henry, it always happens to the great players that go. Carlos Vela, whole season, phenomenal.
No dip for LAFC either. You guys have won things in this league, and I'll throw it to you, Calen, first. 72 points. We knew Bob Bradley was not going to take his foot off the pedal in this game, and he had his stars out there basically till the very, very end because he wanted to get it done at home and make a statement. They made that statement. What was the statement?
Well, that you can win and you can do it in style. Because we've seen teams win, maybe the Red Bulls, but maybe not in the same style that we've seen LAFC do it. And I went out to do some interviews there in the middle of the summer, and that's what they talked about. It wasn't so much about the points at that point, and you don't reach 72 points by thinking of numbers. You think of the way they're playing and that they have all these repeatable patterns. So when you have Carlos Vela and you know that he can go from wide, again, the goal again goes over to Blackman, it goes over the top, you know the right back is going there. It's the same ball that we've tried to see Greg Berhalter try and implement with the national team, and then it cuts back across, Carlos Vela's there to finish it. The balls go, when you step out wide, then Vela tucks in that little in-between spot, in between the center back and the outside back. Then you know set pieces, you foul him anywhere, he's going to get those penalty spots. So it's really the style of play that they've been able to do it, which they're going to continue to do. And that's the big question for me going into the playoffs with this LAFC team is that repeatable, or does that change in the playoff picture? Because we saw Atlanta United abandon that a little bit in the playoffs, and we've seen Toronto FC play a little bit more pragmatic too. This LAFC team is not going to budge. I think they're going to go through the playoffs because they're 16 points clear of anybody in the West. So why would you change it if you're them?
And we've seen them adapt. I think that's the best part about it. Carlos Vela, we saw him accustomed to being on the right side. They moved him to the center. I had a lot of question marks. Can he hold up the ball? Can he still be influential in the middle of the field? Well, against San Jose, he dummies it. He goes down and gets the ball back, dribbles 4 people, scores a goal. Another run, he comes into the midfield, he draws center backs out. They play in a ball behind for the outside mid to come into it, the attacking forward, and next thing you know, they're flying. So they're able to adapt because of the way they play. They have passing patterns, the sequences, and then they can just play you off the pitch.
I agree with what you guys are saying. They're aesthetically pleasing, and they've been consistent in playing that style. However, the 2 teams they struggled with at home are the LA Galaxy and Minnesota United, and they're going to face one of those 2 teams in their first game. And they're going to have momentum, those 2 other teams, because they've already played one. They're going to feel good about themselves. I think it'll still be a challenge. I don't think anything's guaranteed.
That is a good point. Also, something to add before we get away from LAFC and Colorado Rapids and these records. I just do want to say that we're all thinking about Walker Zimmerman and that awful, awful looking injury that he suffered in this match, hoping that everything's okay for him. You know, not even related to the playoffs, not even related going forward, just personally. We're thinking about you, Walker, hope everything is okay. So that's a good transition, though, to the playoffs. They have a long break. Jimmy, does that break matter? Some have said that's a rest. You go to international duty, you come back, Bob gets you going again, he'll get you in a rhythm, it'll be okay. But that's like 2.5 weeks.
It is 2.5 weeks. You're going to lose touch with your players a little bit. They go to international duty. You're not around them on an everyday basis, and then you get them back, and you have to get them in that spot. They've achieved a lot at this point. There's going to be maybe a little bit of an emotional letdown because of that, but given what Bob's done with this group and where their mindset is, I don't see it, but it's possible. I think there's room for that narrative.
That's why I was interested to see Vela because he had a hat trick at about, I think, maybe just after halftime. So you're thinking maybe at that point you're going to take him off. But I think because of that long extended break, he went the full 90. They gave most of the first team that entire run. So I think Bob and the team wanted to push these guys in this game and give their best to keep that momentum and good energy going to the
How would you
stretch.
expect Bob to handle this, Charlie, having played for him in the past?
He knows how to get the best out of this team. I've been there where we've had an extended break when you're in the middle of the playoffs due to the friendlies, and it didn't change anything. It didn't change a thing. We still were able to come out, stay focused, and it's all about the mentality. This group has it. They know they're going to come out and perform. The passing sequences remain the same. The identity, the style. It's a team that you know when they're on the field, they're going to play their best, and they're going to get the best. Bob Bradley's going to get the best out of this group.
Can I ask one quick question,
Yeah,
and then
please.
we'll get to Cobra and Susanna Collins out in Frisco after that huge win for FC Dallas. If you are Bob Bradley and LAFC, and you're looking ahead and you're just playing through the scenarios, do you want the Galaxy and to get that monkey off your back in the big moment, or do you want Minnesota United, who
I'll tell
don't
you-
have players?
I know what I want.
You just take literally for LAFC, it's then we'll play whoever. They don't want.
I'm not taking that answer, Charlie. Who do you want?
They don't. If I'm playing for LAFC,
if you're Bob Bradley, who do you want?
I'd say give me Galaxy.
got the Galaxy.
Give me LA Galaxy.
Yeah, you want the Galaxy for sure.
Well, we want to because for it to be a perfect season, you have to knock off the team that you haven't been able to really dominate or beat. So bring LAFC, bring the Galaxy. We'll beat them on our way to the MLS Cup.
You with them?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Get Zlatan in there?
Yeah, I mean that's what everybody wants, really.
Yeah,
Let's
that's true.
keep it real.
That's
but yeah,
what I want
can.
too.
But that's the one thing they're talking about is that this team. That's the only thing you could say that's bad about them is they haven't beat their rival across town, and that's been the thing that's weighing on them. So now is the opportune time. There's no more. It's hard to beat a team not be able to beat a team or have one team have your number over time. So I feel like getting them, they'll be wanting them to have in next round.